Hello, everyone. My name is Mauro Yakubian, Commissioner Mauro Yakubian, and I'd like to welcome all of you today to the special meeting November 16th, 2020 for the Glendale Transportation and Parking Commission. I want to start off by saying a few things. First of all, welcoming everyone to the special meeting of the Glendale Transportation and Parking Commission. The meetings are broadcast live on cable channel 6, GTV 6, and rebroadcast throughout the week. Call 818-548-4013 for program schedules. DVDs and videotapes of the proceedings are available for purchase in the city clerk's office. Meetings are also archived on the city website for viewing anytime at https://www.glendaleca.gov/public-meeting-portal. If you have any questions about matters on the agenda or requests for assistance, please contact the Public Works Administration Office at 818-548-3900 during regular business hours. Please turn off cellular phones while inside the council chamber. In compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA of 1990, auxiliary hearing aids, sign language translation, and Braille transcripts are available upon request. Assisted listening devices are available same day upon request. At least 48 hours or 2 business days notice is required for requests regarding sign language translation and Braille transcription services. All documents related to open session items on this agenda that are received less than 72 hours prior to this meeting and are public records will be available for review in the Public Works Administration Office at 633 East Broadway, room 209, Glendale, California, 91206. Translation services are provided for meetings throughout the use of bilingual staff or speakers who wish to utilize the service as available. Speakers should state their request by contacting the Public Works Administration's office at 818-548-3900 at least 72 hours prior to the scheduled meeting. Please specify the language for which you require translation. The exclusive use of city-provided interpreters is not required, and persons are welcome to use their own interpreter or speak in their native language. We're going to talk very quickly. Due to the evolving situation with the COVID-19 novel coronavirus and health recommendations from the LA County Health Department, the special Glendale Transportation and Parking Commission meeting will be available to the public electronically. Due to social distancing requirements, the public will not be able to attend the meeting. The public is encouraged to watch and participate from the safety of their homes to practice social distancing. The meeting can be viewed on local cable, Charter Cable Channel 6, and AT&T Uverse Channel 99, and of course streaming online at www.glendaleca.gov/government/public-meeting-portal. For public comments and questions during the meeting, please call 818-937-8100. City staff will be submitting these questions and comments in real time to the appropriate person during the special Glendale Transportation and Parking Commission meeting. Thank you for your patience as we went through that, and I would like to request for the first item on the agenda, please.
Item 1A, roll call. Chairperson Yakubian,
Yes.
Commissioner Gossin, Commissioner Sahakian, Commissioner Nazarian,
Yes.
Commissioner Lester.
Yes.
Great. Second item, please.
Item 1B, flag salute.
Great. I will lead that. Please stand. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
for
liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next item.
Item 2, posting of agenda. The agenda for the Monday, November 16, 2020 special meeting of the Glendale Transportation and Parking Commission was posted by Thursday, November 12, 2020, before 5 p.m. on the bulletin board outside of City Hall.
Good. Next item.
Item 3, approval of minutes. Approval of minutes for the regular Transportation and Parking Commission meeting of August 24th, 2020.
Do I have any comments on those minutes? And if not, do I have a motion to approve?
motion to approve the minutes.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, let's move on.
Before we move on, can we do a roll call, please?
I'm sorry, let's do that.
Chairperson Yakubian,
Yes.
Commissioner Gossin, Commissioner Sahakian, Commissioner Nazarian,
Yes.
Commissioner Lester.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Well, let's move on to number 4.
Item 4, action items. Report regarding the North Hollywood to Pasadena Bus Rapid Transit BRT project.
Great. And who do we have speaking today?
Madam Chair, we have representatives from Metro, but I'll turn it over to Mr. Fred Zohravan to do the introduction for this item.
Hello. This is Fred Zohravan. I'm a principal planner for City of Glendale. And BRT was started about 2-3 years ago, and we have done Metro actually started the project. And today we invite them to present the project to City of Glendale and also our commissioner. And I have 3 people from Metro that they're here and they're gonna introduce themselves. Go ahead, Gary. Gary?
Hi, my name is Gary Byrne. I'm the Deputy Project Manager on the NoHo to Pasadena BRT. I'm happy to be here to present to you to sort of give you an overview of where we are with our project. I believe we have a PowerPoint that's been prepared in advance. Could that be called up, please?
Yes, I'll bring it up in one moment.
Okay, next slide, please. So tonight I just want to give you a quick project background, sort of tell you how we got to where we are, and then I'm going to go over some key stats on our project, and then we're going to do a little bit of a deeper dive into what some of the bus lane configurations that we're proposing for Glendale. Next slide, please. So this is a Measure M project. We have $267 million in Measure M and SB1 funds. Last spring, we completed an alternatives analysis where we looked at a bunch of different route options. The results of that showed that the street running segments tended to perform better. So we moved forward with a refined street running alternative, but we still kept some route options in play. After that, we moved into our environmental phase and we started a 2-month-long scoping process throughout the summer of last year. We did a lot of outreach, did a bunch of community meetings. We got a lot of great feedback. And in addition, last fall, in November of 2019, we did some additional workshops, lots of hands-on activities to sort of give the community a chance to tell us what their priorities are for their own streets and how they want to see this BRT integrate with their communities. All said and done, we got over about 2,500 public comments during this period. So really great outreach, and we were really excited to introduce the community to the project and sort of see what they wanted the project to do for their neighborhoods. Next slide, please. So some of our goals for this project, we're really trying to provide that new premium transit option to retain existing riders and attract new riders. There's been a long history of studying the connection, the potential for a connection between North Hollywood and Pasadena including Burbank and Glendale along the way. So we're really trying to provide access to all those major regional centers like downtown Burbank and downtown Glendale and connect them to the broader transit network in North Hollywood and Pasadena. We're also trying to improve passenger comfort and convenience by providing that enhanced type of service that a BRT can provide. And then we're also trying to sort of support community plans along the way. Next slide, please. Thanks. So we've been coordinating with every metro effort that's been happening throughout the corridor as well as the region. We've been coordinating closely with the North San Fernando Valley BRT that will also terminate in North Hollywood. Metro is also doing a joint development project at the NoHo station, so we're completely reimagining how Metro interacts with that neighborhood, and we've been coordinating closely with them. The next gen effort, where Metro is completely reconfiguring its bus network for the first time in a long time, we've been coordinating very closely with them to make sure that this new service complements their changes rather than competes with their changes. Next slide, please. So here is our project map. What you see in the purple is the proposed project. For the purposes of the California Environmental Quality Act, we had to identify a single proposed project. However, what you see in the pink are those route options I mentioned, and those were also studied in our draft environmental impact report. They were given equal weight, and ultimately our board could select any of the segments you see on this map as part of the final project, either purple or pink. So just to give you a quick run through, starting in North Hollywood, the proposed project goes east on Chandler for a brief segment before heading south on Vineland. We also have a pink route option there that goes straight down Lankershim. Regardless of which option we choose, we wind up on the 134 freeway to get to the Burbank Media District. Then we proceed north along Olive to get to downtown Burbank, and we provide a direct connection to the downtown Burbank Metrolink station. Then the project heads into Glendale on Glenoaks. And from Glenoaks, we have a few different route options in Glendale. The proposed project heads south on Central and then east on Broadway. But we also have a very similar route option that goes a little bit further south on Central and then would use Colorado to head east into Eagle Rock. Then lastly, we have a 134 freeway option in Glendale that would effectively bypass most of Central Glendale, but would still head into Eagle Rock. Within Eagle Rock, we have the proposed project on Colorado Boulevard, and we also have a freeway route option there as well. Both the freeway and the Colorado route options wind up back on the 134 to get into Pasadena. Within the city of Pasadena, we have multiple route options. We have two different ways to exit the freeway, one on Fair Oaks, that's the proposed project. And then we also have the Colorado Street exit as an option. And then to head east to the terminus at Pasadena City College, we have two options in Pasadena. The proposed project heads straight east on Colorado, but we also have an option that uses the one-way streets, Green Street and Union Street as a couplet. So the project would essentially head east on Green Street, north on Hill, and then back west on Union. Next slide, please. So some of those key stats for our project, if you were to take current transit services along the route we're proposing, it would take you about 2 hours. But with this project, we think we can get that down to just over an hour. We don't anticipate most of the ridership will be that end-to-end travel, though. It's going to mostly be people traveling from point to point in between. So as a couple of examples, if you were to go from downtown Glendale to downtown Burbank on current bus service, it would take you just over 20 minutes. But with our project, we think we can get that down to 17 minutes, which saves you about 20% of your time. Similarly, downtown Glendale to Pasadena City College would take you about 45 minutes with current bus service. But with our project, we think we can get that down to just about a half an hour, which saves you about a third of your time. The total project length is just over 18 miles, and we're planning 21 to 23 stations, depending on which route options get chosen. Our ridership model is showing a pretty robust 30,000 boardings in our opening year of 2024, and that rises to 35,000 by 2042. We're hoping to operate this similar to the Metro rail services you know today. So we're proposing 10-minute headways all day on weekdays, and then that tapers down to 15 to 30-minute headways during the evenings, late nights, and weekends. We also want to operate similar hours to the rail service, so 21 to 23 hours per day, with those longer hours on the weekends, Fridays and Saturdays, to sort of accommodate extra late night riders. And then lastly, the whole Metro bus fleet is transitioning to zero emission electric buses, but we've been told we're prioritized to get those electric buses. So we're hoping to open with 40-foot zero emission electric buses, which are really great, not just because of the emissions, but because they're electric, they're also quieter. So they're much more neighborhood friendly. Next slide, please. So what did our draft EIR find? The great news is there were no significant and unavoidable impacts to the environment under CEQA. Most of the less than significant impacts we did identify were related to construction activities, so things like construction noise, dust, things that we can mitigate, and things that will eventually go away once the project finishes construction and begins operation. And in fact, because the project is a transit project and reduces the vehicles mile traveled metric for the region, we're actually benefiting transportation, air quality, energy, greenhouse gas emissions, and noise because we're running those electric buses. Next slide, please. More specifically in Glendale, we think this project is going to be a great benefit by providing that premium high-capacity transit service right through the center of Glendale. It's also going to improve Glendale transit riders' connections to that regional rail network in Pasadena and North Hollywood. Another good thing for Glendale is all of our proposals retain almost all of the street parking. We do anticipate needing to remove 1 or 2 stalls at every station, potentially, sort of just to accommodate bus movements. But largely the parking remains untouched in Glendale, which is great for local businesses. We also anticipate that by shifting the buses to Central, we're going to remove some of the current congestion that happens on Brand, in addition to removing the conflict between buses and cars reversing out of that diagonal parking on Brand. And then lastly, our proposals also preserve the bike lanes on Glenoaks and Central, which is really good for us and for the cyclists. Next slide, please. So Glenoaks Boulevard, what you see at the top is the existing cross-section for the street, and then below that is what we're proposing. Essentially, we want to convert the inside travel lane next to the median into a bus lane. This is great because it's the optimal BRT configuration. It removes conflicts with most other vehicles, most turning. The median would largely remain untouched. We'd have to do some reconfiguration at the intersections to provide room for left turns and also to build stations. But other than that, the median remains largely untouched. We also don't affect the parking or the bike lanes, and it would be very compatible with any potential changes the city wants to do regarding buffering those bike lanes in the future. It also would maintain right side boarding for the buses, so it's a great opportunity for us to provide a premium BRT service along Glenoaks. Next slide, please. So here's a rendering of what the station area might look like in Glendale. I believe this is the Alameda intersection. And you can see those, the medians are reconfigured a bit at the intersections, but they remain just past the intersections. You can see the trees there in the distance. The stations are accessed via the existing crosswalks or improved versions of the existing crosswalks, so no new signals for the stations. And you can see that it just integrates really well right into the center of the roadway there. Next slide, please. So on Central, we are proposing, again, a lane conversion. We would take the outside lanes in this case, and it would be a side running configuration. This is great because it is better for the local services. They're more likely to use a side running configuration since they stop more frequently. We still would not be affecting the parking. We would be maintaining the bike lanes, and we would be maintaining the turn lanes so that local circulation isn't affected. And again, by shifting the bus service over to Central, we're hopeful that we can improve the situation on Brand while also sort of creating a prime transit street on Central. Next slide, please. Similarly, on Broadway, we're again proposing a lane conversion where the buses would operate in a side running configuration. Again, we would be maintaining the turn lanes that are there currently, so local circulation remains. The parking remains largely untouched. Again, just a few stalls may need to be taken away for stations, but overall, another great opportunity to provide BRT service. And Broadway is also where all of our transit services are currently focused in Glendale. So this is another great way to consolidate metro service and provide that premium sort of transit street experience. The other good news about Broadway is there's lots of really solid parallel streets as well that automobiles could still use. Next slide, please. So here's a rendering of what it would look like at the station at Glendale and Broadway. It is side running on Broadway, as I said, but the rendering just looks like it's curb running because it's pulling into the station area. But you can see that it's a really great station environment. You can see some of the enhanced features like the canopy, the next bus signage that tells you when your bus is going to arrive, really sort of enhancing that experience for the user. Next slide, please. So lastly, I just want to touch on Metro's equity-focused community efforts. Metro is dedicated to doing a better job of serving typically underserved or underrepresented communities. So what you see on the map is our route options. And then the gray areas are half-mile radii around all our proposed stations. And where it's highlighted in blue are where we hit some of those demographic factors like zero-car households, lower-income households. And you can see we do a really good job of hitting up a lot of the communities along the way. And it's not just about providing connections between them, but providing those communities a better connection to the regional rail network in North Hollywood and Pasadena. Next slide, please. So in terms of next steps, right now we are in the middle of our public review and comment period for our draft EIR. It was released on October 26th, and it's a 46-day public review period. We've held 2 virtual public hearings. One was last Thursday and one was just this past Saturday. We've gotten a lot of really great feedback. There's a lot of interest from the community, and we still continue to receive comments via email, over the phone, etc. We also created what we're calling a virtual platform. It's essentially a digital meeting room that's identical to what you would typically experience at a Metro open house. So it's set in the Metro ticketing hall at Union Station, and we have project information boards set up around the room, and you can click around. We also have all the project information via presentation, as well as an update video. And there's a link to directly access the draft EIR documents, as well as to provide comments on the draft EIR documents. So we're really excited about getting creative and trying to reach out to these communities, even though we can't actually go out to these communities. Once our comment period closes on December 10th, we're going to start summarizing, categorizing, analyzing all the feedback we get. And we're hoping to go back to the Metro board early next year in January or February to have them select that final routing. It's called the locally preferred alternative, or the LPA. And then once they do that, we can finish up the work on responding to all those comments, and we hope to certify our final EIR in May or June of next year. And then our opening year per Measure M is 2024. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, we're in the middle of an official public review and comment period. So any official comments that anyone would like to submit should probably be sent through one of the contact information you see on the screen now. You can send us a letter via regular mail. We also have an email address. We have a hotline where you can call and leave a voicemail if you prefer to give your comments orally. And then, of course, we have the project website where you'll find all the links to any information about the project, as well as links to provide comments and access that virtual platform I mentioned. But outside of the context of an official comment, we'd be happy to take any questions you have right now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Byrne. I appreciate that presentation. Can I ask if we have any comments from the public?
Chairperson and Commissioners, we have no comments at this time.
Okay. All right. Well, let's open it up for some comments. Fellow commissioners?
I have a comment.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd just like to thank Metro for a great presentation and a really great project. From my perspective, you know, it's almost impossible to overstate how important it is to bring this high quality transit connection back to Glendale, specifically Glendale's downtown. There's a history of transit that sort of informs the built environment in Glendale. And I was especially pleased to see how Metro's routing choices really, they're using some of these former rail right-of-ways that are surrounded by higher density buildings. And I feel like it's putting back together an important transportation component, another option in the city, and having it be high capacity and fast, in my view, is of the highest priority. I had some questions and comments, but I can wait if someone else would like to comment.
Henrik, I don't know if you're going to jump in. I wanted to just ask about the station designs and how you will be going about deciding how those will be designed, and integration of artwork to kind of give in the local flavor of our area.
Hi, thanks. So the renderings that you saw are all very early, highly conceptual designs. Basically, it's just clearing what the environmental envelope would be, sort of a concept. We would definitely be coordinating with the local communities on making sure that whatever public art we include will do a good job. And we are planning to include public art, but we'll do a good job of representing the communities. Metro is also currently preparing a BRT vision and principles document concurrently with this study. And that's sort of looking at envisioning what stations can look like and how they integrate better with the communities, as well as how BRT in general at Metro looks. So that's another study I would highly recommend you look for coming out soon. And that'll give you a lot of great information about Metro and our BRT program.
Okay, and just to be clear, Metro has approved the electric buses, correct? So there's no question about that. Those are secured.
The whole fleet is converting to electric by 2030, but it takes a while for buses to be delivered. So we're at the top of the list to get them as they come in.
Perfect. Very nice presentation. I was very impressed. The whole team, Fred, everyone who's involved with all of this. This is high quality, beautiful integration of the bicyclist. Commissioner Lester, you probably agree with me. Those are pretty nice. A nice incorporation into this whole. I love the headway. I'm loving that. Right now, what is it currently, like approximately, like if you want to compare? I know you said it's 10. It would be 10 minutes. What is it currently?
I know the 180 varies, but at its peak, I don't think it goes over 20. I used to ride it myself. And most of the day it's 30 at best. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Amazing. Very good. Very good. Are there any other comments?
I have just a couple of minor questions, actually. Thanks, Gary, for the presentation. Really nice and clean cut. Specifically on Glendale, Central, Glenoaks, and Broadway, do we have any roadway changes or any of the curbs proposed to widen or anything?
As far as I can recall, we're not proposing any road widening in Glendale. The only change that you might see would be on Glenoaks, where we're proposing to, as I mentioned, you may need to reconfigure the intersections with the median, just to sort of make sure that the left turns are properly accommodated with the bus lanes, as well as station areas. So we would have to obviously build a station platform in those cases. So we're not proposing any road widening, and the only curb type changes you'd see would be where we're building a station.
So I guess then you're saying basically there's no right-of-way dedication or anything as well. The right-of-way remains the same, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. So being more specific, I guess on Glenoaks, when I was looking at the sections, considering the station, the width and everything, the median didn't look like it's changing. The two travel lane remaining didn't look like change. So what is the minimal width you need for the travel lane plus the stop and everything? What is the width of the minimum for that lane?
The bus lane is 12 feet, which is what the lane currently is, I believe. So we're not proposing to do any major changes there. The stations would be built in that median space. So we don't need extra space for the station because we're taking that out of the median.
How much? Is it 10 feet, more or less?
That'll probably be determined at a later phase of design.
Okay. And did I notice that the Broadway bike path is being eliminated?
Yeah, we are proposing to remove the sharrows. I believe in California, you're allowed to use the bus lanes as a cyclist, but we're not proposing any kind of shared facility there. It's more or less just the bus lane will be replacing where the sharrows are. The good news is, as I said, there are a lot of good parallel streets to Broadway, so it's possible the city could look into providing that bike infrastructure elsewhere. But as currently proposed, the sharrows are removed.
But that study is not part of this EIR or anything to study if north of Broadway or south of Broadway can replace the eliminated bike path?
No, we didn't look into that.
And the 134 option, as you said, that's alternative. That's not the main route right now. Our main route does go through Glenoaks Central Broadway, right? That's the main route.
Yes, that's the proposed project per CEQA, but all route options were studied equally in the EIR, and ultimately, based on community input, our board could select any of those other options.
So just out of curiosity, if 134 was the option, how would the station work on those cases? The bus will come off and then go back again? How would the stationing work?
So currently we have the Metro 501 service that makes a stop on Good and Sanchez near downtown Glendale. Essentially, our stations would be operating in a similar fashion. We would be providing a more enhanced station experience, but it would essentially operate similar to how the 501 does in that same area.
Thank you so much, Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think that about does it. If you don't have any more comments from the...
I actually did. May I?
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Sure. No, I didn't want to take too much time there at the beginning. So I had a comment and a question. What is the prospect for, in places that include bike lanes, to switch positions between the parking lane and the bike lane? In other words, to create a cycle track that's protected by the parking lane. That would be Glenoaks and Central. That's may or may not be part of what you're studying, but if there are reconfigurations happening, it seems like that would be an efficient time to do that. The other question I had was, the map shows a section of West Broadway near the 2 freeway as mixed flow. And I was just wondering why that was not considered for a dedicated lane. As a cyclist there, I can say that it's hazardous beyond belief, because the cars approaching the freeway tend to be operating in freeway mode in that section. And I just wondered, since my observation is that it could stand calming.
Okay, so for the first part of your question regarding the swapping of bike lanes and parking, I would bounce that back to Fred, who we've had discussions with him about that. He may have more to say about what Glendale is planning for that. Regarding that section near the 2, I believe we go to mixed flow due to spatial and capacity constraints in the area. I'd have to go back and take a closer look at why we did that, but that's my recollection at this time.
And Commissioner Lester, for the parking and also bicycle lane, we are looking at we are at the first stage of designing this project, and nothing really, this is only on conceptual design. We're going to take this to our council, and also staff is looking at all of the aspects. So we will receive your comment, we include it in our comment, and we look at it.
Thank you. If I could just add very quickly, it's important from a cyclist safety perspective to consider that there's a large difference between a lane that's protected by a line of parked cars versus one that's next to 1 or 2 travel lanes. The one that is between the curb and the cars essentially is an all age and abilities lane, and one that is next to travel lanes sometimes feels like an expert lane, not inviting to all users. That's a comment.
Okay.
Thank you for those comments, commissioners. And if that's it, I think you guys have our comments down, and this is an action item. So I'll just ask, this is something we kind of make a motion for our comments to be incorporated. Is that what the procedure is?
That is correct, Madam Chair.
Okay. So can I have a motion to, I guess, approve this report regarding North Hollywood to passing a bus rapid transit project incorporating our commission comments? Is there a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
And I'll second it. We have roll call?
Chairperson Yakubian,
Yes.
Commissioner Gossin, Commissioner Sahakian, Commissioner Nazarian,
Yes.
Commissioner Lester.
Yes.
Thank you all so very much for that. Next item?
Item 5, oral communication. Discussion is limited to items not a part of this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. The commission may question the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision.
Do we have any callers, speakers?
Chairperson Yakubian and Commissioners, we do not have any comments at this moment.
Okay, then let's move on.
Item 7, or item 6, it skipped a number. Commission, staff comments, updates.
We'll start with staff.
Madam Chair, we have no comments from staff at this point. Thank you.
Fellow commissioners, any comments?
Just one quick thing. Somewhere midway, it got better now. I guess at some point the echoing started. I don't know if you guys could hear it or not, but it was a terrible echo, and now it's gone. So never mind.
Right. Any other? Okay. All right. Last item on the agenda?
Item 7, adjournment.
Have a motion for that?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.